Welcome to Sacred Fire Podcast. This podcast is for you if you are ready to speak, sing, dream, and dance a vision of your highest truth into being, where inspired expression, art, music, and edutainment alchemically merge into immersive experience as way showers come together around a sacred fire with open hearts and pure intent.
Everyone and everything sings it all now into being.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 of the Sacred Fire Podcast. I'm your primary facilitator and host today, Michael. I also go by Eyansetna, and I have with me today my incredible co-facilitator and co-host, Taikon. And first and foremost, as we begin this journey here today of the Sacred Fire Podcast, I want to invite each and all of you, the viewers out there, to tap in and tune in to the purest essence of your heart space and unconditional love. I want to invite you to go ahead and sit back and relax and come into this sacred space with us around the sacred fire here as we take you on this incredible journey of transformation and elevation into your highest and best and the highest and best for all. With that being said, I want to now tune us into some authentic shares, authentic drop-in of where we are each at energetically in this moment. And I will begin first with you, my brother Taikon. So what do you have going on right now? What of all of the things, when you tune into what's going on in your life right now, what feels most real and alive for you to maybe share a little bit before we dive into this journey a little bit deeper?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me here, inviting me to the Sacred Fire. Even though we're, in different places and staring at each other through the phones, it feels already like we're coming closer together. And I've been and always seem to be going through a lot of things, and particularly in this moment, today was a really interesting day. I came into this space. I've been a visionary for a long time, and I held this vision that came through from spirit in a way that like I'm now seeing as like this form of attachment. And this time that I've been spending here has given me this reflection, this opportunity to see some of my ways of the past, and also a new opportunity to create new ways in the future. And I've wanted to create a village for a long time, and I will surrender to the path that, of course, I'm going to find village in the future. But I've been really finding the space and allowing myself to like really feel into things, be in the now, not have this big vision that always drives every moment of everything that I do. And yeah, today was quite nice because I was able to like step back from that and reprioritize. Like, well, number one is like taking care of myself. Like this is also, I feel like it's like prepared, but this is authentic. This is actually just what I work with. Like, all right, number one, healthy living. Leaders lead the way. I have to take care of me, and that realization and embodiment is really like my focus right now. It's really listening to myself, my body, what I need, and the difference between this like I gotta do and I need to be, and I need to be healthy. And yeah, it kind of combined with this that building a culture, like which is the thing I want to do. It's like something that you can't like force. It's like something that happens through exchanges, conversations, relationships, and that's just organic. So I feel pretty good, actually. I'm really excited to be on the call. Honestly, like there's some nerves around being on camera, recording something for the first time, but as we sit into it, the nerves are gone, and they were only really there at the beginning anyway. So that's how I'm doing right now. How are you doing, Brother Michael?
Nice. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Um, I can I can relate in certain respects, um, mainly in just the catalyzing of this vision. You spoke on being a visionary, and I'm in a place where, it's this vision of what we are going to get into sharing here today started out. Um, it really, in a lot of ways, it's been kind of like building, you know, my whole life and even beyond this. But like in particular, main particular aspects of this vision was received in 2019, and I've just been surrendering and moving through all of the layers of really bringing it into this tangibility in this moment. And so, in that sense, what you're talking about in terms of taking care of me is there, but it's also what feels in my case like taking care of a child, energetically speaking, is and that reflection, right? Because this energetic child is, for me, is so multidimensional. Though it's like, and even since we've been talking, I noticed a lot coming up in kind of the sacral womb area we were speaking on. And of course, that is the, place where we nurture ourselves. We receive nurturing, we nurture projects, uh, energetic children, physical children, if you're a female bodied being. But the multidimensional womb for some male bodied beings as well. And so, yeah, what I'm just here, and I'm really grateful for this space of being at the energetic moment of finally really bringing this into being as something that takes care of me and myself, takes care of you in different ways, and also what we might call the collective, or any beings that are taking part in this ceremony with us right now. For me, I'm reaching a moment where it's all kind of starting to merge together simultaneously, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And so just kind
Yeah,
of in a space of reverence and gratitude for the honor of kind of being this pillar in bringing together this sacred space and these offerings and everything that comes through it. That's kind of like what's most present for me in this current moment.
yeah, that's really. I can really feel that though. It's always been so interesting co-creating with you and sharing space because of the reflection of our experiences and just like the flavors that are happening. Something came to me while we were sharing too, and it was an invitation for people who are watching this to invite themselves to share with somebody today. Like the power that uh, this authentic space has done for me, and I know many other people, is undeniable, and it's also like part of the human experience. So if you haven't shared recently or today, like maybe you want to reach out after you watch the podcast and find somebody who you resonate with and really share like from your heart like what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, to add to that too, feel free to share on comment threads. If
Mm.
maybe, obviously in physical space too, I definitely encourage that if you have somebody close to you. And feel free at any point to share on the comment threads wherever this is posted, or even reaching out to one of us with some authentic shares about what it brought up for you. Definitely really inviting people into this immersive co-creative experience. Although this podcast is pre-recorded, there in truth is no time and space, right? We are all eternal beings. And so whoever out there is listening right now, this is a sacred space that's being created in this moment that you're experiencing it as you're tuning in. So please feel free to come deeper into this space and, make a comment or reach out. Feel free to come deeper into this co-creation in whatever way calls to you.
Yeah, buddy. I like that.
Awesome. So that being said, I now want to officially move a little bit deeper into this ceremonial space by bringing everyone together. And I'm going to invite everyone, including you, Tycon, if it calls to you. I'm going to keep my eyes open here just to lead this space officially a little bit deeper. And I'm going to really bring us in fully into the ceremony. So I invite you, if you are listening and if it calls to you, to close your eyes and start tuning fully into your physical body, all the layers of your energy bodies. As we just start communicating with all the layers of the self, to just start relaxing, start releasing, letting go of any tensions, worries, cares, concerns, stagnant energies, whatever might have been going on prior to this call. Just relaxing, releasing, and letting go. As you are now emerged, and can let go into Source Infinite, which is always surrounding you and permeating you. Our Divine Mother Gaia, who is always surround us, part of us, holding us, below us as well, providing that safety and stability, just relaxing and letting go. From there, just letting each and every part of your body, just really letting go of its tensions, just fully becoming present into the ceremony that's being co-created here. And then from there, just invite you to connect deeper into Source Infinite in the center, the temple of your heart space, the unconditional love which resides there, and just expand and radiate that unconditional love now out around your body, out around the planet, solar system, cosmos, just expanding that unconditional love infinitely and indefinitely. And then from there, breathing in, connecting into the central column, central pillar of light, energy, frequency, tone, vibration that run vertically through the center of your body. The instrument of the infinite that you are, that central pillar and central column of vibration. And breathe down and out through the central column and central pillar, from the heart down into Gaia's crystalline core, connecting into your original divine organic blueprint there. Even below this, into the unmanifested deep space, earth star, timelessness, spacelessness, formlessness. Coming back up to, breathing back up to Gaia's crystalline core, connecting into any and all of the highest and best energies, forces, frequencies, tones, on all time, space, dimensions, frequency bands, and universes that are of your highest and best and most authentic, and the highest and best for all. And breathing those up now through all the layers of the earth, up through your feet, en route all the way up and out the top of your crown, all the way up and out into the highest of dimensional heavens, connecting into your original divine organic blueprint there, and any and all of the highest and best, clear, pure, benevolent energies, forces, frequencies, and tones. And breathing those down through all the dimensional layers, down into the crown, down through your central column, coming to just below your feet as you connect into your own personal, original, divine, organic blueprint. And breathing up and around you and up and around this space, the sacred space here, those healing grids, energetic cocoons, and bringing your awareness back to your heart space. Now, as I also fully call into this space, each and every one of you, each and every clear, pure, benevolent being that is of our highest and best, the highest and best for all, and only those clear, pure, benevolent beings, and any and all that are misaligned can go ahead and leave this space now. So you're no longer welcome here. And we'll call into this fire, connecting it into the highest, purest flames of source. Here, invoking that into this moment as we all gather here. Beautiful. And that being said, now I'd just like to invite you, Tycon, and also anyone listening to just go ahead and tune into their body, into their being, into their energetic fields. And anything that's feeling out of place or misaligned, I just invite you to start sharing a little bit about that. Anything that comes up. Do you got anything coming up today, Tycon?
I mean, I feel extremely elevated.
Perfect.
I almost forgot I was in this space right here, and I'm also able to see a little bit of how my mind was liking to construct how things might want to look. So I definitely can allow these tossing the fire any forms of pre-flow or mental creation about the form of anything, particularly due to like what I shared earlier about being in the space, about working with co-creators and collaborators and visions and accepting things of where they're at and not needing to be anything else than that.
Nice. Yeah, beautiful. So we will just purify any and all of that programming, misaligned energy, on all time, space, dimensions, frequency bands, and universes, and call back to you now, cleansed, cleared, and purified, and in all of your power, light, energy, quanta, sovereignty, body parts, bodily fluids, reconnected to your God source, realigned to your original divine organic blueprint. Beautiful. Opening now to the mystery. This is the first line in the first official song, alchemical musical transmission from this project I have called Eyansetna. And what we're going to be doing here right now is just going through these lyrics of this song to bring you on this journey today. Opening now to the mystery. So there was a very, very specific reason why I felt called to open this entire offering, Sacred Fire podcast, and this ceremony today, and my first debut recorded track with this line. Everything here is very intentional for me in this transmission, in these many layered initiations that brought me to the point of being called to share this with you. So opening now to the mystery, what is happening here is literally in this moment, everything in this reality, in my experience, is created by our vibration, our song. And so opening now, first of all, literally by way of manifestation of co-creation opens. So we're literally commanding an opening in this now, the eternal now, to the mystery. Because when we create, when we co-create, the mystery ultimately is that timelessness, spacelessness, formlessness. It is this question, right, where we actually can surrender and merge with something beyond, with the unknown. And it is from that unknown space that we actually tap into, what some people might call the infinite, right? It's that pure potential. And so in this moment, I share those lyrics and I share that transmission to open you all up, to open the space up to that mysterious element so that we can all co-create this dream together. You see, because in 2019, I received this vision that I would be stewarding, be humbly leading a movement of creators, visionaries, musicians, artists that know their role as co-creators of this reality through their vibration, through their art, through their intention, right? Because if we understand that this reality is created by song vibration, right, which science has now essentially proven that this reality is created by vibration. What was shown to me clearly was many past lives of mine, connected also to many different traditions, ancient traditions. All ancient traditions really understood that this was the way that co-creation happened. The Aboriginals, for example, spoke of dream time, where their ancestors came from this dream time, where they recognized something that I've actually had an awareness of since I was born, and before I was born even. But I remember being in second grade, and we were in class, and we had to all start learning cursive. And we would get these special pieces of paper with like the dotted lines and pencils, and we would start tracing the forms and things like that. And it brought up some kind of like triggers and challenges for me at that age, because it triggered me remembering that I had actually came from this place that where we would sing, dream, and dance reality into being, where literally like in real time, as we would sing notes, it would be like painting reality into being, like a very lucid kind of crystalline plasma uh, state, and everything would just respond so live. And it was all these beautiful like pastel colors and things like that. And so when I remember going to try and have to learn this writing like this, and I remembered it bringing up feeling like, wow, this reality, this world, and this way of communicating, it felt so dense and archaic to me. And eventually, obviously, like I pushed through it, and I learned. But yeah, it took many years and lots of purification and work, and recalling many different implanted kind of like past life situations connected to my genetics, and things like that, to bring a lot of this memory and way of being back here now. And that's a lot of what these offerings. So a big part of these offerings here in these songs is bringing back that way of intentional co-creation, and inviting you all to come into this remembrance in this way of being. So yeah, that's line one in this song. Does that bring up anything for you? Anything you want to share? If not, I can also just hop into line two.
Yeah, brought up a lot of things actually.
Cool.
Man, so that meditation took me into this really like deep state, dude. And I sit in there like, and I noticed this stray thought, and the stray thought was like, it was like out of alignment. It kind of got some focus on it, and we had some other technical difficulties. And I'm like, did I just dream that into being? And as we got back on the call here, this resonance, there's this song by, it's called Metamorphosis by, I think it's Metatar. I'm going to share with you. The lyrics in the song both coordinate to also this, a lot of the flow-based experiences I've been going through. There's been just this group that I'm working with talking about how this lag time that he called it is like actually kind of like a gift, because what it means to create like that means like a lot of things that we carry or I carry or some people carry that you wouldn't really want to manifest and like create them instantaneously, right? Because they're not in the highest vibration. It could potentially be chaotic. And so I just had like a whole little journey there. I'm like, wow, like when that, and it just reminded me of well, that even though this is like your vision and your mission, that everything in my field is showing me that this is like what's coming back into the field, and that in doing that, there's like this purification process to really align the energy so that what we are feeling and what we are dancing to and what we are dreaming to is actually like what we want. You know, does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. That's a beautiful point. And so a lot of this work that I'm talking about is a process of purification, because what we're actually doing is allowing ourselves to become instruments of the infinite and allow the song of the infinite to play through us, where we can become that pure conduit for those songs. And my my experience is that it's literally, it's just built into the fabric of how it works. And what I mean by that is because ultimately there is only benevolent source infinite present in every moment, but simultaneously there's this perceived process of evolution, of change, of moving forward, of growth, and these different things. And so any of these programs, the trauma, the wounds, the density that are present, that we experience, are literally that lag time, right? So we ourselves, in our direct connection of the infinite, it has that built-in type of experience, right? Where the more we purify ourselves, the faster the flow and the movement becomes as we surrender and become a more pure vessel. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. So many of my terms I'm liking, or my phrases I like to use, come from this community that I've been hanging out with. But it's like what came to me was, it's all right to have an ego, but don't let the ego have you. And
Nice.
it totally makes sense. It's we're getting into the quantum that like everything is perfect, and also from our perspective it doesn't feel so perfect. And
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the filter of the ego perceptions kind of deems it not perfect and things like that, right? But then simultaneously, by that same note, what I've noticed in terms of more like manifestation, as we like to call it, right, is that when we get into intention, even if it's coming from something that maybe pain, trauma-based, ego-based program, society, whatever, then naturally what happens is that we create those types of experiences that ultimately are always trying to guide us to the lessons of the purification or seeing through those programs or those experiences that kind of like are always usually trying to deliver us out of it. It's just, at some points it can lead to what is perceived as like extreme challenge, right? Because, as you know, different people need different things. Each being has like a unique way of needing, like, great thing is an example of like children, right? Like sometimes a kid might need a parent to raise their voice in order to be like, whoa, okay, like I should actually maybe listen to my parent and stop doing what I'm doing. And some kids, and it could be the same kid, it could just be a different situation where there's an experience where it's just like, hey, can you stop doing that? Or like maybe you could do it this way, and just be like, oh cool, yeah, right. Um, and the benevolence of creation works with us in that way as well, where we might like ask for some things over and over again, and eventually it leads to like, okay, higher source self intelligence is like, okay, we'll let them touch the hot stove, right? Because we said don't do that over and over again, and they didn't listen until it's like, oh, okay, ow, that hurt, and then the kid's like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna do that again, you know. Um, but at the same time, the parent isn't like, letting their kid go through anything that is not that's kind of past their limit per se. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like adding this element of like trust, like yeah, this ability that there's this force that's supporting you, and yeah, even though it's hard, and you might burn yourself, like you got you know little guardian angels kind of thing,
It's interesting that you said that, because like literally at that exact moment I felt uh this really pure and benevolent angelic force kind of come in and start surrounding and connecting uh, with the energetic field here. And so that being said, the so the next lines of this song are so that I'm just going to go through the whole first segment here. It's opening now to the mystery, born this ancient sacred dream. Everyone and everything sings it all now into being. So what this is really, this is kind of the essence of what we just spoke about overall, and what we're doing here is we're literally uh bringing this into the now, into the present moment, bringing everyone into this vibration and recognition of the co-creation of the song and this prayer in this moment, and into this dream, into this co-creative dream that we spoke of. Yeah, so I'm just going to share the full first verse here, which is opening now to the mystery, born this ancient sacred dream. Everyone and everything sings it all now into being. So essentially, this is evoking into this moment that which we have been talking about, that everyone in this moment and in all of creation is really already doing this. This is something that we learn and develop how to do more and more consciously, but it's something that's already happening here in this moment, because nature, the nature of reality is vibratory. And we're evoking, birthing this dream, co-creating this dream together in this eternal present. Do you have anything to that you want to share about the that first verse?
I think actually, brother, you shared it right out of my inspiration or our inspiration. That was so much it. It's like I was just realizing as you were saying, like that's already what's happening. Like that's how reality is created is through kind of like we were talking about earlier, like the our perception and our words, our energy. The thing that came to me towards the end when you were sharing was actually like the impact of good vibrations. Meaning that like when somebody is like in a good space and you're sharing like out loud their actual song, how that
Mm.
song is like contagious and it like affects the internal world and like the vibration those people put out. And I was just kind of seeing that like yes, we're all creating reality through the songs that we're kind of inherently already vibration we're inherently already putting out. And then some people who actually make physical vibration, especially like heart centered, loving, powerful vibration, how that like ripples out and affects the hearts of others and affects the realities of those people and ripples out to other situations. And I guess kind of reflects to this next phase as well. Wow, the next set of lyrics. I love this. This is so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you for reflecting that. Um, yeah, exactly. It's already happening, and like music, we have, if you've ever seen a band or uh, a concert, an orchestra, right? There are always certain players in the band and certain instruments, even that others naturally kind of like sync up to, right? Those that are more holding the tone, right? And then others will like harmonize to those tones, or uh, maybe even sing along with them. Because one thing you always notice as a musician is sometimes if you've ever tried to, if you ever put on a song and you sing along with that song, and then also try to do the same thing without the song on, you notice it's much more challenging to just from memory or from your brain sing at the same notes as like even one of your favorite songs. But yet when you put it on, you might be able to follow along with the melody like really easily, right? And so this, it's just the nature of vibration. There's, I think I've seen this like famous video on TikTok too, where or maybe Instagram Reels or whatever, where there's these like two tuning forks, right? And they have the ball bouncing between it, and it's like, oh, this is how reality works. Because I mean, it's true. Like you just literally do these like simple experiments and see, like, oh wow, that's how it works. There's this syncing up. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And that's why we have you know leaders and stewards and medicine holders and things like that. In this way of being, it when it's coming from an authentic place, it's just a vibration. It doesn't need to be, kind of more that old egotistical way of a leader that's like, you're gonna do the way I say because blah blah blah. It's just its natural organic process of uh you know emergent behavior, right? It's just emergent co-creative behavior that happens in living intelligent organizational systems once systems are there's a scientific word for it, but they become self-organizing. That's what it is, right?
So organizing, yeah.
Like mycelium is a great example of like a self-organizing intelligence, or a forest that's actually healthy. And so yeah, this transitions to the second verse, and unless you want to say anything else, I can
No,
cool.
I feel complete. I feel complete on that part.
Cool. So it has no start, it has no end, no without, and no within. But if you listen to these frequencies. Once and for all, now you will sing. So it has no start, it has no end, no without, and no within. So what this is essentially a transmission of what I refer to personally as the infinite. And the infinite, although this is something that we must keep in mind here with these transmissions as I'm sharing here, words are constructs, right? And words can't always contain the totality of something because they are words. And this is why I say our vibration is what co-creates reality. So these songs, even in this moment, is a transmission. So there's also the vibration, the frequency behind the words. So that's what I mean when I say the infinite, right? So the infinite is beyond opposites, right? We're talking about beyond duality, beyond opposites, and beyond opposing forces, right? So that's why I say it has no start, it has no end, no without, and no within, because it literally, what this is an attunement to is the part of you that is eternal. It was never born, and it will never die. It's literally eternal. It will go on forever, and it always is. It's here in this moment. It's just a matter of attuning to that vibration. And it has no without and it has no within, right? Because when we truly tap into this infinite vibration, there is no self and other. So that's what I mean by no without and no within. And the more we go into this purification of all of the density in our system, we actually come more and more and more into a place of total inner silence, because it is only density, as we might call it, that actually creates these inner forms and perceptions and mirrors of inner and outer. So when we perceive something internally, right, a form, a word, our inner monologue, it's actually a density and a resistance that creates this perception of inner and outer. When really, when we fully attune to the infinite, it's all one. And but if you listen to these frequencies once and for all, now you will sing. So this is also the frequencies, as I like to call them, right, is a play on the fact that we're tuning, going back to what I said about this dream time, this liquid plasma crystalline vibration and co-creation that we're talking about. It's an attunement, this frequency of no inner and outer and the infinite is attuning people to this liquid light plasma body that they have. And it's a place that is like a sea or an ocean, a frequency ocean. And this liquid plasma nature of reality is always in this flow, in this dance, responding to our vibration as we clear and purify more and more density. And so once and for all, now you will sing. Once and for all, not both simultaneously for all, as it's literally attuning you to a oneness, and then also for once and for all, as in like it's eternal. So you're attuning to something eternally, once and for all now, as in once you tune into fully this vibration, it's eternal vibration. So you're literally riding these frequencies and you will sing. And you will start to sing, and that gets into, of course, it's a transition into the chorus, right, which we're going to share in a moment. But once and for all, now you will sing. You will sing what? And that shifts us into the chorus, the song of the infinite, right?
You're saying free queen?
Free queen.
Free
Like
queen.
free queen
Seas.
seas. So like free as in without restrictions or freedom, queen as in king and queen, and seas as in seas, like oceans and seas. And so
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So frequencies, free queen seas. So this is an attunement that I came up with actually a couple years ago, back in like 2021, is and it has to do with a whole way of navigating reality that came to me through this process, where and actually we'll be tuning people into some gifts later that can actually help a lot with this process, like some practical practices and techniques and things like that, which we'll be dropping at the end if you feel called to getting further into this. But so we're talking about the frequencies, right? Literally, this vibrational nature of reality. So free is the essence of, when somebody fully taps into this infinite nature, this vibration of the infinite, there's total freedom, right? Because you are literally one with the infinite. So there's nothing, there's no want, there's no need, there's no like, everything is present. Can't be taken from, you can't be given to. You're one with everything. And everything is speaking to you and singing to you as the infinite self and source singing to infinite self and source. And the queen, the reason I use that queen is to help people tap into what I might refer to as the feminine nature of an aspect of this. The queen being the body, right? The liquid light plasma body, right? Which is kind of like the feminine nature of this. In the sea being like the ocean of consciousness, the ocean of oneness in the liquid plasma light that we can learn to sail through tuning into this instrument, right? That central pillar that you are all tapped into right now is like the string in the center of your instrument that allows you to tune into like sailing, like surfing these vibrational waves in frequency nature of reality.
Like going with the flow.
Exactly. So
Honestly,
yeah, is
I
there
feel
anything else you want to bring up there about that part?
like I'm on a journey. I'm on the free queen seas right now.
Nice, perfect.
Woo, woo.
That's
Oh
so
man,
great.
yeah, it
Yeah,
feels really good.
there's a lot of really beautiful, potent energy here right now. So I'm glad you're experiencing that and tuned into this prayer so powerfully. I love that. I hope each and every one of you listening is in a similar space. And if you're not, I just want to go ahead and tap you back into offering anything that needs to be offered to the sacred fire here, which gives me, which actually reminds me, I'm going to relight the sacred fire here. So we want to keep the sacred fire going the whole time. I'm using these cold here today just because in the future I'll be actually using wood pellets and stuff like that. This is just what was available and present in the moment, and it does bring the sacred fire fully here. So now we get to the chorus. This love moves through your blood. This love moves through everyone. This love sings through your eyes. This love. So this love, the love what we're attuning people to here in this moment is the love of the infinite. And this love, as I say now, and I say in the song, this love moves through your blood. What I'm literally doing is transmitting and attuning all the way into the depths of your blood and your genetics, this transmission of the infinite. And this is something in terms of this process, you know, one of the ways that I learned and understand and remembered this was in 2020, before the big C was was really beginning in an issue. I was in a near death car accident, and after that near death car accident, I went through this total rebirth ceremonial session from this incredible uh, woman. She goes by Eagle Woman. She's half Apache, half Toltec medicine woman, extremely potent energy worker. And she pulled me up onto the table, and it was a very divinely destined moment. She helped to clear and release a lot of trauma from when I was a childhood, and also drop my what she referred to as my avatar into my body, my higher self avatar, which is when I transitioned into uh, Michael from Thomas, because it became clear to me that Michael was the name of that higher avatar. It was also my birth middle name, so to speak. But during this session, she cleared all this stuff. I got off the table, and that's when a very, very potent series of initiations began for me. I was led as the big C was going everywhere, all over the country, and shutting things down. I was uh, I had a very potent choice point where I could either stay in the safety and security of the place that I was in. It was kind of getting weird as all my psychic intuitive faculties were coming back online. I was reading people's thoughts, feeling their feelings, not only mine, but all the people in the space. And we were in a ley line, on a ley line in that location. So I actually started to become intimately aware of all of the collective things that were present in that moment, the grid, as I like to call them, the dragon lines of the earth, and just all of the collective energy, psychically intuitive, what Gaia had going on, what was going on in the cosmos. And I was invited into this really potent initiation where all of a sudden, there was this choice point moment. And my choice, which wasn't really a choice, to be honest. I was in the middle of this galactic council meeting, and they were like, "You're going to go back to Asheville." I was in Austin at the time, and my little mind at that time was like, "Yeah, right. How's that going to happen with everything going on?" But everything just started perfectly unfolding, and so I surrendered, and that initiated a series of potent grid work across the US as I went back to Asheville. And when I got back to Asheville, I walked in the door of an old place I used to live in. I painted an eagle feather, a bald eagle feather. And, Eagle Woman clearly shared with me, yes, this is the completion of your eagle medicine initiation. And from there, I really started to dive into working with individuals, groups, the planetary grid, all day, every day. Many layers of initiations through my own genetics, my own ancestry, also facilitating one-on-one sessions, group sessions, couple sessions for a lot of other beings. This was a huge shift in my life. And what I what I learned doing that work is that when I bring people into these sacred ceremonial states, and we go beyond time and space, and we have the access to our morphogenetic fields of our DNA, that words, vibration, but specifically words with certain frequencies attached to them, can connect people and transmit to people these vibrational experiences, right? And actually like speak to their cells, their DNA, and connect them to these frequencies. And that being said, that shifts into another piece of this larger movement that wants to be co-created here that I'm inviting people into as well, which is again, this is something that's already happening. But how many creators and musicians, or just even people in general, but especially musicians and creators, do you know that are intentionally connecting into the awareness that by sharing songs, they're playing a part in co-creating the vibrational nature of reality, and they're doing so intentionally with each and every word and the vibration coming through to uplift in creating a more beautiful reality for everyone, right? With that sacred intentionality, right? And this is part of what we're bringing online here too with these podcasts and this movement, these events that we're starting to share. So this love moves through your blood is literally a transmission, and through everyone through your eyes. And this love is the love of Source Infinite. You have any comments?
Yeah, the thing that came out to be most impactful was the eyes, like shared through the eyes. It actually gave me some like inspiration. Like over the past couple of days, like it's amazing, like what presence and like what can be shared just with the eyes. Like vibration is awesome. Songs are amazing. Like I absolutely melt to sing songs. They crack my heart open, and it's like the giving of love too can also. And I've experiences like where you're just, and I just like I could feel it. Like I could feel the presence, and the presence and like the love being in the eyes. Like as you were sharing it, and I was like, oh man, you know what I haven't been doing? Like I haven't really been like connecting with people at that level. I have like this mission and I have stuff to do. I'm busy, I got bills to pay, blah blah blah. And I was like, like, I just had this image of like just, and I even a memory of like yesterday, like when I got up yesterday and I went to the kids. The kids have been traditionally easier for me to like connect with, but I just like I went to the kids and they're like, I could just see myself having those love eyes, like, oh, they want some kids, and man, like I'm missing or have been missing that part of like just bringing the love of presence and the love of the caring gaze, right? So yeah, that's I could really connect to that part.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, it's so beautiful that you tuned us into that magical inner child energy and essence. And simultaneously, it brought up for me something that I wanted to share about this transmission as well is this love sings through your eyes. And what's important to tune people even deeper into with that is when we come into this transmission of Source Infinite, we move even beyond light and sound. We actually even cleanse and purify this kind of perceptual illusion and distortion of sound and light being separate, right? So this love is literally singing through your eyes in such a way where, again, that frequency ocean, right? Where we're literally tuning into beyond opposites. Because in a way, one could, before these types of distortions are purified, one could see sound and light as potentially as opposites or conflicting, right? And my experience that I've had, and so I can literally attune people to in this moment, is that sound and light, right? So there can be this way that the inner monologue or the inner perception operates, where it can, due to kind of like an overlay or a certain distortion, as we like to call it, can create this sort of like dissonance between quote unquote inner and outer through this kind of like distorted play of sound and light. But when we tune into the vibration of Source Infinite, that unwinds and then twists and unfolds, allowing us this free flowing vibration where, you know, you could also even look at it as some people talk about like the war in heaven, right? Or like even in a way like the war between heaven and earth, right? In this vibration of the new earth, this war has ended, right? Because there's no longer this perception of separation from the inner and outer, between the body, the frequency ocean, some, you know, me and you. It's just Source Infinite. And so we can clear and purify and unwind and unravel those distortions so that heaven and earth merge, the inner and outer merge, the new earth being here now in this moment and available to us now. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes sense. I'm just like on that journey.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I'm on like it's hard to really describe, but it definitely made sense what you were saying for sure.
Yeah. And in a way, you know, attunements and activations bring awareness to this vibration in the self. And simultaneously, you know, we have what we call like an embodiment process, right? And this is where dancing and these different things come into play, movements, stretching, these sorts of different things, right? Because we have an attunement or an activation, as some people call them, that can anchor these vibrations into our being. And then there can be this unraveling and this unfolding, right? Where there's a need to breathe and stretch and move these vibrations into all the cells so that there can be a full presence. And sometimes this process can be multi-tiered and multi-layered and take, you know, hours, days, weeks, years, whatever, right? Depending on how shifted and twisted and multi-layered these different things are. Does that kind of resonate for you in this moment?
Yeah, the the ice things, man. I know it's been a while since we touched it. It just was like so impactful. Like the whole bridge, it feels like you were saying, like the as it breaks down, like the two that were not the same are becoming the same, and in that it's like the integration is different because it's like new territory but familiar territory. And I
Yeah.
know that doesn't make no sense, but this is like from experiencing it now in the moment because like I heard the words that you're saying, but now I'm feeling the experience, which yeah, it's both like familiar but also unfamiliar, and the words of it don't really anchor in too much. It's more like a state of being, like a unified feel. Like there's not as much desire to like engage that way. And I know I'm like a little off of your direct question, but that's like the state that it's brought up. It's very interesting.
Amazing. I just want to say I just love that you're having such a like authentic uh experience of this transmission, this ceremony in this moment. It's like really just an epic testament. I'm really enjoying this. And yeah, the eyes, of course, for sure. Um, because that's the thing, that's the beauty is while there is oneness, there is simultaneously um, simultaneously there is each as a unique uh, expression of the infinite, right? And this literally transitions us perfectly into uh, the next verse.
Yeah, comes to me though real quick that what is the feeling I'm experiencing is like I often feel separated, right, from that state, but in this feeling that is familiar but also different, it feels unified, and like from unified, there's like no need to want to do anything, right? Like it's just we're all one, everything's perfect. So like, do I really need to say anything? Like you already know, right? Like, oh man, it feels good. Yeah, go ahead and lead us in with this next verse. I'd love to hear it. Thank you.
Amazing. Right. So you were talking about you're feeling separate, right? So the next verse is letting go of the identities, embracing all that we can be, everyone and all the things, oneness and diversity. So letting go of the identities, right? Again, so because everything is just frequency, it's literally the identities as perceived form and separation that by holding the energy of an identity, we identify as something separate, right? So perceiving the self to be separate, then that vibrational dissonance of like inner and outer, self and other, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not this, I'm that, whatever it is, that construct, right? Literally as like a pattern is creating that sense of separation. So the transmission is go, letting go of the identities and embracing all that we can be. So we're simultaneously embracing all we can be, the totality of the infinite, and embracing all, as in we're embracing all of you that are experiencing, that are on this ceremony, all coming together in unity in this moment. We're embracing all we can be, right? Because everyone in all the things, as in everything that's singing this vibration, this song, co-creating reality, co-creating the ceremony, everyone that's on the call, and everything, oneness and diversity. So again, we're transcending opposites, right? Because oneness simultaneously, we can only experience oneness as the source infinite if we also embrace diversity. So we're just transcending those opposites because some people, for some people, oneness, right, actually it doesn't include diversity. So they're like in some sort of resistance to the way that somebody else or something else is, again, creating an opposite or a self and other. So we transcend the polarity, transcend the duality into embracing oneness and diversity. So co-creating in this song. And if and when somebody is holding on to an identity, somebody else, quote unquote, is thinking, we recognize that as there's no inner and outer. So if there's somebody in our space or somebody we're perceiving as separate is perceiving themselves as separate, we can recognize that they are simply part of the one and they're having that experience. And we can embrace that and letting go of our identity of being separate from it. Source is omnipresent, as I like to say.
So there was a question that came up, but as you explained it, it doesn't have relevance to, like, you definitely grounded in what the answer would be, but there was a point in there that was like diversity. Why didn't you use the word divinity? Which is an interesting thing that came up. But what really weighs with me is, although like I've known this and been shown this and experienced it, it's easy to like be like, oh yeah, that's true in all these other situations except for this situation. And to take that like that awareness and that truth and apply it to like all of your life, right? It's a deep level, and I think it relates a lot to like this, my share at the beginning about visions and this whole thing that's coming up in my space about like doing things with people, counting on people, teamwork and stuff like that, and I could just see how in all of that there was a layer of, in a way, kind of like a layer of judgment, but a layer of separation, right? Because it was like these people, these types of people are the ones, and then like if they weren't like that, the way I wanted them to be, or the ego wanted them to be, it's like, well, those aren't the people, right? And in whatever doing that was, it was like missing the opportunity to see love with the eyes and also see the oneness, see the diversity and divinity in all ways, in all spaces, like getting further from, well, in illusion, but feeling further from oneness, and yeah. So yeah, it's just layers, man. Like it's like an onion. You're just like peeling the onion.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. It's perfect, real, and authentic there with the process. And so what I would like to reflect in that is when we do have these identities, it's kind of going back to that lag time thing, right? Like we do have these identities, if we're like challenged with them and how they are affecting the form and function and the pattern of our relation with perceived separate beings around us and things like that. It's also understanding, showing up in that total authenticity, right? And trusting in our frequency navigation, like I had said, where, this does what we're talking about, it doesn't necessarily, we start to get into some of these dynamics of understanding, like, whatever, like, it could be some emotionally abusive type of situation or something, right? And when we're talking about this, it's not saying like, oh, just put up with that or something, right? If you're authentically experiencing these things where there's emotional abuse, these challenges and things like that, it's because there are still these layers of density and trauma and different things like that that authentically need to be worked through. And if you're honestly in like an abusive type of situation, or even just something that just your core, to your navigation device, says, I don't resonate with being here with these people in this situation, you also just like authentically get up and move and leave and hold boundaries, right? Because if you are in a place where you are really actually like purified of identity structures, right, and continuing, right, because it can be a continual process, those identities are what can create healthy boundaries, right? So you have these identities, they're like, as this identity, I have this healthy boundary against this other identity in this experience. And that's authentic, that's real. We're not talking about like spiritual bypassing or something like that, right? And simultaneously, when we come into this vibration of pure source infinite, will we start to become more and more into where it's like automatic action, where we're not like thinking about how to navigate and choose and what to do so much. The more we purify in connecting to this frequency, it starts to be, I said, the inner silence starts to happen more and more, where it's just like you're picking up the cup. When you pick up the cup, you're saying what you're saying when you're saying it, and you're not necessarily contemplating so much about it all. But there is also definitely layers and levels of transition and lag time, like we talked about, right? Some people can get confused sometimes, I think, with these transmissions of like, well, maybe that just means I never do anything. I just accept everything it is. And if somebody's like mean to me and abusive, like I don't stick up for myself, I just take it. We're not talking about that's a another distorted lack of self-love view of oneness or something, right? There's these other identities, right? So like in reality, there's authentic expression of the infinite, and then there's like mentally perceived, I'm trying to be in oneness, right? And we're not talking about that. And that's
You're
why
right.
this purification is so important, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of I've listened to a lot of Alan Watts lately, and he has this part about you know having the mental conversation where you sit there and tell yourself to be enlightened. you know, so am I just supposed to go around telling myself all day and pretending to be a saint? Is that how I become a saint? And yeah, it's like it has to be authentic. Like authentic is the path to it. And yeah, my reflection earlier, I'm glad that you came in there because it wasn't from a space of trying to share any visions or like instructions to anybody. It was actually just me in the process. This space that you created here has brought me deep into these reflections about my own my own energy and what my unclarity has created and where my attachments were and what kept me doing things, and that's helped me clear quite a bit and stuff. And I definitely think the key to all of it actually was something that came to me really, not even recently, it comes to me all the time, but it was just a reminder that if everything's one, there's actually no like the perception of enlightened or better or like all of that is like a limitation to the authenticness, therefore a restriction, a separation, right? It separates you even further because it's like, well, I can't be like this because that's not the way I'm supposed to be. In my life, I created this picture of like, this is what good is. I want to be good because, ultimately probably because I want people to like me, and then having experiences and feelings that I didn't share and express because I had said that those weren't the good things, those weren't the things that I should be, and that created further internal separation and further like separation from authenticity. And I was kind of just getting at that since we're talking about oneness and everything being one, that all things fall under the oneness banner, and authenticity is the key to expressing your unique reflection of oneness. And without that, like you get off track, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. Um, cool. So then we have the last chorus is this love moves through your blood. This love moves through everyone. This love sings through the light. This love is eternal life. What I did there is I just shifted this love sings through the light, shifting people away from that personal connection, sometimes with eyes, and attuning into singing through the light, right? Which is, kind of everything has this light nature to it. And coming into this transmission of the perception of love's transmission of the light of everything. And then finally, this love is source eternal life. This brings in a vibration of like a Christic essence in nature to it too, which in my case transcends. We're talking about transcending religious beliefs and ideologies and things, but there's this concept of Christ being eternal life, and really my experience is this Christic vibration and force that is this unconditional love that transcends opposites, transcends identities, but could be referred to as Christic in nature, and something that Christ emanated is this love of the infinite, which is source eternal life. So it is this vibrational essence that we're talking about that transcends, time and space, identity, and is within you now, but will also, as you tune to it, carry you on through into eternity. And so, yeah, that's kind of the gist of this first offering and track. And then the next thing we're going to do after you bring up any shares or comments is we're actually going to I have a expression video that I did. So not only the recording, but I just did a little personal energetic expression that goes along with the first mixed and mastered version of me and guitar in this transmission for you all, that I would love if you would all sink in and attune to. You have anything you want to share before we go into that, Ticon?
Oh man, I got several things. One is like this flow that's coming out, but I don't know if I should share it because, but it's like, yeah, it's
If
just,
it feels authentic, go for it.
well, it's just, I don't know if they're rhyming or anything, but it was just like around the Christic, and it was like the Christic mystic, and just feeling into, yeah, what you were sharing about this field. This is all the things we talked about. What's so powerful about like this collaboration here is just all the, not only the confirmations, but like the embodiment of the messages coming through, and this field of um, or vibration or consciousness. Some call it Christ consciousness. It all just adds up and not only makes sense, but like feels in the vibration. Like it feels in the field. And yeah, outside of there, I was like, man, I wonder. I was like, I really want to lay down for this song. I've heard it before, but it's like in this state right now. I'm like, man, I really want to like fully surrender and receive. But I, yeah, I'm just in such a gratitude state right now, and such a open channel. I know we've been talking here for a while, but it's like, it feels like a whole journey into the soul, into each other, but there's no each other. There's no separation. We're all one. A cloud, man. So thank you again. I know I've already told you, but thank you so much for this. And yeah, let's listen to this song. I'm ready.
Opening now to the mystery. Born this ancient sacred dream. Everyone and everything sings it all now into being. Has no start, has no end. No without, no within. But if you listen to these frequencies, once and for all now you will sing. This love moves through your blood. This love moves through everyone. This love sings through your eyes. This love, this love. Letting go of the identities, embracing all that we can be. Everyone and all the things, oneness and diversity. This love moves through your blood. This love moves through everyone. This love sings through the light. This love's eternal life.
Yes, thanks so much, everyone, for enjoying that share and that gift. If you want to tune in again multiple times and don't want to just realign the podcast, you can also click below. There's a bunch of sparks coming from the sacred fire. No, but there's a bunch of links below, like the link to the song transmission on the YouTube, some other links too. But and this is so cool. My roommate is literally using this sacred horn to call in ancestors at this moment as well. So I just want to authentically in this moment invite any and all of our clear, pure, benevolent ancestors into the space in this moment. Just that recognition, of course. And that being said, so also a perfect transition. That expression video was recorded just a few weeks back when I was in Denver, Colorado at Red Rocks, actually the place where my birth certificate says that I was born, was just outside of Denver, Colorado. And I'm just really grateful for you all experiencing that authentic share. And so I just want to open up officially to both you, Taikon, and also the viewers. Any comments, anything it brought up, anything like that, we welcome on the comment thread or in the chat or emails, whatever communications, and then obviously directly from you here now, Taikon. So just would love to hear.
Well, for me,
that comes up for this popcorn.
Popcorn. Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. Me, it actually.
And if you just want to, if you just want to settle and attune a little bit more, I can also just share a bit more as well. Or
no, I mean, it got me into the space of what is this journey that's been crafted and coming forward? Like, what is it? Where else are we gonna go? Like, I anchored in. The song was amazing. Like, and then my brain, my little ego was like, ooh, we gonna do this every day for a week? Like, you just got super excited, and I was like, man, we're gonna have something in the morning. It just kind of flashed back to the framework that we set up for this in-person experience. And it got like all, and they're like, oh man, this is gonna be so good. Not even for other people, it's like, it's gonna be so good for me, man. Like, so I just got really excited.
Awesome.
I feel like we went so deep just going through verse by verse. Like once we listened to it, it was kind of like they just let the anchoring in. Like, I actually felt like way more grounded at that moment than I did a lot as we were holding space for going through the lyrics.
Totally.
And through that grounding.
Yeah, it was like the landing, right? Like, it brought people through the creation of the transmission into the actual landing of it in song form. And that's the alchemy, right? You were experiencing directly, you're all experiencing fully the direct alchemy of the creation of it until the actual transmission. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, man, it was a journey.
Awesome. And speaking of journeys, I also just want to give a minute to share and reflect a little bit here about how we came into this moment. So we haven't even talked about this yet, but Taikon, I wouldn't be here in this moment and presenting a lot of these things in this way without you. And a lot of the way that this is formed and co-created, over the past couple months now, Taikon has this incredible way of essentially a process that he specifically calls dragon dreaming. And it's this way of essentially holding space and psychically, intuitively pulling forms and essences and creations out of creators and helping them land their visions and their creative things into tangible offerings and things like that. And so this process and this journey that him and I have been on over the past couple months is one of the pieces of that. Beyond this podcast here has been the co-creation of 3 7-day retreat events that are going to be in Costa Rica, where this experience on this podcast that we've led you through since the beginning around the sacred fire here, essentially the vision that I've been seeing from day one in this transmission is offering all of it as a fractal, right? So coming into the ceremonial creation in this moment is a fractal kind of spiral mini window into working with me and or Tycon, either one-on-one, or in this case, we're speaking to a 7-day deep dive immersive experiential event where this type of experience is brought into everyday life, all day, every day, in this really beautiful way of attuning to living, singing, dreaming, and dancing life into being, which is actually the name of the retreat, the 7-day retreat events as well. And so what Tycon has been doing in his dragon dreaming process is assisting in helping me to take this from this more higher dimensional vision and actually step by step pulling it out into the podcast, into the structure and form of the events, and some other really incredible things as well. But yeah, so excited and just grateful and honoring of your medicine, Tycon, in helping to birth these dreams into being. So yeah, thank you for that.
You're so welcome. And let that energetically land for a moment. Yeah. Something that comes to me like I've avoided things in the past with like the best givers are the best receivers, and sometimes I've been avoiding receiving energy, and I really do appreciate that, and I really do take that to heart. And what's so beautiful about this is through the offering that I offered you, like we were so in sync, and your vision was so powerful and so attractive that now we get to do it together, and I get to assist you not only at the first part, but like watch it be birthed and watch other people get to go through the channel. And you know, I've been living in community for like 10 years, and so I've definitely done this with other creators, but never to this level where we're so in sync and the vision is so clear to me energetically that I feel so enabled to be a co-facilitator in a way where I really grasp, I internalize and hold the same vision. And the spaces that are coming up, I'm really, really looking forward to. Added to that we are doing them all in Costa Rica, which holds a fond place in my heart. I feel like Costa Rica offers this amazing bridge with the culture and the vibration that's held there. The culture is very open and the vibration is very light. And for me, it's been a place that allows for these transformational events to really accelerate and catalyze the potency of the offering. So I'm really looking forward to doing these with you. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to continuing to do these podcasts as we get closer and closer to these dates. And also, I've had the opportunity through this collaboration to firsthand bear witness to some of the keys and the channels that you hold, because you know, as you saw authentic on this, I'm always authentic with Michael here, and he knows that my personal life has been evolving and changing, and he's been able to hold. I mean, holding space isn't honestly like an accurate term for what you're doing. I'll just like call it through dispelling illusion and shining bright lights on dark places and beaming insights and downloading truth in such a way that that it's really helped me transform some extremely difficult times in my life, like around long-term relationships and families and children. It's been really hard for me the last couple of years, and the time that I spent with you in this collaboration that thus led to some of the support that you offered me has been honestly priceless. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that reflection and reciprocation. Yeah, you guys, everyone on this call, you know, just it's an honor to work with you, Taikon, in this way, and to do this type of play and work in co-creation. It's just life for me now. And that being said, everybody on this call, anybody that feels resonant, it would be an honor to invite you deeper into it all. And you all are witnessing on this authentically smaller layers of the work, the magic, and everything. This is immersive experience here, and the other things that we share and offer just deeper, more either one-on-one versions or in these events or group versions. Of course, it's not just 7 days of just this podcast, right? When I say you're getting a window into it, it's 7 days of all different sorts of offerings, singing, learning how to connect into your unique song, your unique expression of the infinite, yourself as an instrument of the infinite, and a lot of different ways that we kind of bring that out, clearing what's not in the way, or emphasizing, transmitting tools and techniques, and moving through sacred fire, ceremonial offerings, dances, and different practices that can help kind of gently awaken and invite these things that are truly already in you, right? It's just these beautiful ways of kind of creating the conditions for that magic to kind of come out in that unique expression the way that it wants to come out. And yeah, so it's something, it's just everything, it's just life for me now as a whole. And so obviously you coming into this co-creation with me, Taikon, and anybody on this call, you're getting some of that already. And yeah, in terms of this podcast and moving forward, we have a vision for it, and it's going to unfold organically. And this brings me to, a couple more things. Check out the links below. I do have some deep dive one-on-one offerings, and so does Taikon. And simultaneously with this podcast, we're also inviting people into this larger movement as well, beyond just the 7-day retreat events. I'm talking about like something much bigger in terms of these podcasts will have other musical co-creator guests. They will have other visionaries coming on at the right time and place. In particular, the calling in of the first event specifically, and maybe more so far, still needs a chef, a food medicine expert. I have one potentially in mind, but we're still calling that in. We're calling in musicians that want to co-create on further alchemical transmissions, ones that want to, that know themselves to be intentional co-creators through their offerings and their sacred medicine, and see themselves as co-creators of reality and hold their music or their art in the sacred way. We're also opening up to, people, anything that resonates with co-creating this vision in one way or another. We're always open to ideas, suggestions, comments, concerns, whatever it is. We're also, we're going to be doing some of these podcasts on site in some of these different locations coming up next year, tuning you all to different beautiful retreat spaces and community spaces and things like that. So it's just going to be a really incredible journey, and we can't wait to share more of this with you. Do you have anything else to reflect about those layers of things, like where this is all going in terms of the podcast or the events and things you're offering?
I think
things too.
I think wanted to make an invite for everyone to check out dream.eyansetna.com, where you can stay connected to us. We'll send out notifications with the next podcast, and just keep you updated with all the fun stuff that's going on with this vision as we go forward. And
exactly.
Also,
so yeah, dream.eyansetna.com is also, just so you all know, there is over the years, I've spent many years cultivating a lot of different transmissions and practices in this way of operating. And if you go to dream.eyansetna.com and sign up, there is a free number of master classes actually that can attune you to these forms and ways of being and doing things for your own self. Some of these really high level master practices that I've learned and incorporate into things such as the retreat or my one-on-one sessions. So that's just a gift to you for being here and participating in the co-creation we call life together.
Everyone and everything sings it all now.